Still working X-guard entries here. Another way that I like to do this is from when my partner is standing up. So you see Alec is standing up on me, and now I'm gonna go towards like a shin to shin guard. So if Alec has my middle split like so, my outside leg is gonna wiper inward and my foot's gonna hook right in front of his shin. Now there's a lot of different attacks that we can do from here. I'm gonna close this distance off and my elbow is gonna wrap right behind the crease of his knee, like so. When I do this one, what I'm also gonna do now, like a lot of times when I'm actually attacking, we're looking to control posture, maybe even the belt or the far side sleeve. In this case, I just don't have any grips established, so I need to transition. So my free hand, the one that's not wrapping, I block right above his knee, and now I'm gonna fall right towards the frame that my knee and my elbow are making. As I do that, to take him laterally, my legs start straightening. So my shin is gonna straighten up and create a slide so it falls right down towards my armpit. And I still have the knee blocked. And from here, I'm gonna pivot off and end up in my X-guard position. So one more time, we're starting from our wrap. I'm having trouble getting a decent grip established. So I'm gonna block his knee, just with the palm of my hand. I'm not grabbing, just putting the hand there so I'm controlling his base point. Now as I fall towards my side, at the same time the space opens, I'm gonna straighten my leg and let it drop right towards my armpit. Still blocking on his knee. Now, same kick, swinging back through, angling off into a good X-guard position and looking for whatever grip I'd like to establish from there. Another one that's pretty similar, another entry that's pretty similar is from the De La Riva position that we'll get to. So I'm gonna start in De La Riva on Alec. So again, our middle is split. And now this time I'm gonna be more on my back, not completely, shoulders are still gonna be off the mat, but I have a wrap on the outside. So my outside leg wraps around and I have my foot flexed right to the inside of Alec's thigh. So I have a good, nice firm grip that's hooking across. My other foot is gonna be on the inside of his thigh for people that don't know the De La Riva position yet. Now, I have two hands available. So in this variation, for the transition, what I like to do is I like to have a cat's paw grip. So I'm creating my anchor right onto his ankle, and then I'm gonna have a lapel grip onto the other side. So this is where we're playing from in this scenario, the most ideal at least for me. Now, Alec is gonna go ahead and look to split my middle. So that's a common response to the De La Riva position, clearing this foot off so I can't control the outside of his base. So my leg now, my De La Riva is lost at this point. It's towards the outside. My other leg is gonna wiper in so my shin is making contact with his hamstring, still pulling onto the lapel. My other leg is gonna wrap underneath. This is super important. It's doubling up our foundation. If I'm over top, I'm not doing anything to help when I look to attack at his hips, when I go to straighten. I'm gonna come under, still a slight pinch of my knees, and now I'm gonna straighten my legs, but as I do it, I don't wanna go straight over my head. I'm gonna go slightly over my inside shoulder when I take them. If I go straight over his head, it's gonna be tough for me to transition with my hips so square. So instead, when I do this, I'm gonna come towards the outside. My elbow is gonna be out ever so slightly as well. Now, the other thing I look to do is my elbow is gonna rotate away from my body. This is super important. I don't wanna be really tight because I need to start moving my legs around here. My inside leg, rather than, right now it's shins making contact with the hamstring, I'm gonna put it right to the inside of the knee to widen the base, really try to lock that knee out if possible. And now I'm gonna pummel my original De La Riva leg. Is gonna pummel over. As I come over top with it, I don't go straight to X-guard, I'll widen out to get weight onto the leg so that now I can switch to my pledge position. And from here, swinging right back into our X-guard and with lapel control as well at the end. So we'll do that one more time. So in our De La Riva position, and again, we have good collar position, just a common grip scenario that you'll see when we're playing De La Riva. And now Alec goes to split my middle. Again, a common response. Right now, I switch my legs, which one is making contact. I'm gonna hook my outside leg underneath the ankle, slight pinch of my knees, and now I'm gonna look to straighten. As I'm straightening, I'm also pulling to control his posture. So we're gonna straighten and then rotate out towards the side. Right now, you see I'm not square on my back. I'm bladed towards my side. And the more bladed, the better. But my bottom leg, the one that's towards the inside, I'm sorry, it's my top leg in this scenario, but my inside leg is gonna post right to the inside just so I can really widen his base out. My elbow comes away from my body, and now my leg does a big circle to load that ankle into my armpit, and now I can go ahead. Once again, we can still go to single X from here, but in this case, we're just gonna go ahead and pummel back through and end up in the X guard position. All right, so another common transition that you'll see is going to be from the spider guard. Now, I'm going to start in spider guard on Alex. So I have two cat's paw grips. Sometimes they even call these spider guard grips. Isolating both of his wrists, controlling both of his arms, and my feet are going to be on the creases of his elbow on each side. Now, when I do this, I'm going to pick a side that I want to go to. Me, personally, I like to isolate with my arms the leg that's on my left side. So I'm going to take that foot off and I plant it just behind his feet. We can see his feet right now are in a good base position, shoulder width apart. I'm going to use this as my power source. So we're going to bridge, and I'm going to start bringing my leg and my arm over top of my head so that he needs to adjust his base. As he does that, my leg kicks up. I'm going to swing down, and now I'm chopping so that I have my good pledge position. From here, go ahead and pummel our legs, and now we're into our X guard position. So, one more time, as I'm in my spider guard position, my leg comes off, I plant onto the mat, and now I do a slight bridge and really open up my hip, creating my angle. From here, we can go ahead and release. I'm swinging off towards the side. If you need to, go ahead and put your foot towards the inside and stretch, just to give you a little more space to get that top hook right by his hip. Pulling, and then also my other hook is going to go right behind the crease of his knee, knees pulling in opposite directions, ready to attack from the X guard position. Another scenario you might find yourself in when we're transitioning to the X guard, and this one's a little bit more flashy, is from reverse De La Riva. So rather than the regular De La Riva where we are wrapping around the outside of the leg, our inside leg is going to wrap up and around the outside of the thigh. So just the reverse of what the actual De La Riva is, which is why we call it reverse De La Riva. So I'm bladed towards one side. My foot now is going to be hooked towards the outside. I've got a good position. And now, in this case, I have some grip. I personally prefer, in this case, controlling the far side. And then my free foot goes right towards the hip with my, my toes pointed inward. I'm having control of his ankle. Now, when I go for this, it's when the person starts pulling their posture up. So I'm going to use that to my advantage. What I do is I relieve the grip around his ankle, so I'm no longer clamping. I'm going to snake my hand. So it's going to go between my leg and his. So the back of my hand is wrapping around the outside of his ankle. So as I pull and Alec goes to pull me back, I'm going to do an inversion from here, which you see quite a bit. A lot of times we take this into a back take, but if we really like the X guard position, I'm going to continue through. One thing I want to make sure of, if I want to do the X guard properly, is my head rotates through this space that I'm pointing to right here. So as I'm coming all the way through, my legs come all the way around. I pull onto the leg, and now the last thing I need to do is switch my feet so that I'm in a traditional X guard position and I have my good boombox grip established when I go for it. Again, a little flashy, might be a little bit advanced, but something that you can definitely catch people with. We'll do it one more time. So in my reverse De La Riva position, and again, I prefer, in this case, there's other things that we could do, but I prefer really controlling, lifting my hips, and pulling with a cross sleeve grip. Now, when I'm gonna go for my inversion, I normally don't control the ankle. I'm gonna take my hand and thread it through. So the back of my hand is wrapping. I keep a nice clamp onto his ankle. As I pull and the person pulls back, I use that to invert myself underneath, still controlling. Okay, and again, we could go to back takes from here. I'm gonna relieve the grip, and now my head is gonna come right towards this area, the space between my knee and his. I'm gonna continue my rotation. My legs are gonna slide down to the other leg, and I'm gonna end up in an upside down X. When I do this too, my other hand, my free hand in this case, is just gonna hook shot, and I try to grab right above his knee. Lastly, I open and switch my feet to a traditional X guard position, looking for my grips to establish. So there's, we just gave you a handful of different guards that we can transition to in order to get to the X guard position, excuse me. But sometimes we can do it from a recovery position as well. That works pretty well. My favorite one is escaping mount. I certainly wouldn't say my favorite is I like being in the mount position. I'd prefer not, but it's one way that, especially if you have trouble, like I do, shrimping out from somebody that has a good mount, we use our bridge and our shrimp in another direction so that we can start to transition into X guard, which is far more favorable for us. So Alec is going to start mounting. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start working my elbows tight towards my body, and I'm trying to get my hips so they're no longer square on the mat. So I might do just like a slight bridge, and my elbows coming towards the inside. My other one is going to go across his belt. So I have my frame across his belt. And a lot of times for this variation, what I do first is the leg opposite of the way that I'm turning gives him like a knee towards the butt to bring his weight up. Now from here, I'm still going to shrimp, but rather than trying to bring my hips out from underneath of him to recover guard, we're going to go lateral. So I've bridged in one direction. So in theory, we have to do this with the timing right so that his base points on the side that I'm facing, that I'm turned to, is carrying his weight. So when I shrimp, there should be a little bit of weight off of this far knee on my backside. My tailbone is going to go ahead and make contact with it and start stretching his base out. So go back to mount for me, bud. Cool. So as I go ahead towards my side, I'm going to try to really bridge to get weight in the direction I'm facing. Now my feet are close to my butt, and I'm just going to do a traditional shrimp, but I'm going to really focus on going lateral, having my tailbone knock his knee out from under. Now, once I do this, I've created space that I can start working from. I like to block my hand a little bit lower onto the knee, and right now you see my body's bladed. I have a top leg and a bottom one. The bottom leg is going to bring my knee right through and thread this knee. At the same time, my foot is going to be pushing onto his hip in a single X position. When I go to X, I just extend away, and now from here, I'm going to pummel my leg under into a shallow X position, looking to come up towards my elbow to where I can attack. Let me show that one more time. So from the mount, okay, first I want to make sure that I'm not square on the mat, so I do a bridge. Elbows are in tight. My elbows aren't pushing him away. Avoid that temptation. That's just asking for a hurt elbow. So as I bridge, we're coming off towards the side, and now my hips are going to push through, attacking at his knee. My feet are off the mat here. That'll help a lot. The less on the mat now, the more I can spin on my hip. My hip should be my main contact point with the mat so that I can pivot, bringing myself all the way through to a single X position. From here, I'll extend away, and now I'm coming to a shallow X where I can look to attack, and ideally coming up to my hand or my elbow. Those are just a couple of transitions and ways that we can get to the X guard position.